You know, a good reminder from Genesis chapter 1, verse 3 is God always pierces the darkness, always. And the darkness doesn't last.
And the high priest, the great high priest who is Jesus Christ, he puts his hands on your life and you take your hands off and you say, my life is surrendered for your purposes.
Hey, welcome in for another episode of the Downline podcast. I'm Jamie Trussell, the privilege of serving Downline and as the lead pastor of Redeemer Dripping Springs in the Austin, Texas area. At Downline, we certainly hope this podcast helps you faithfully walk with Jesus while pouring your lives into others. And we are joined today by Trillia Newbell, who is an author, speaker, does tons of stuff across with editing and working with Moody and books, but also Trillia, we just discovered, putting our brains together, former Downline conference speaker there in Memphis.
Yes. So I'm very familiar with Downline, but it's been a while. So I'm so glad to be here. Yeah.
Well, you're so sweet to join us. And I do take a few minutes for those. Now, I do think a lot of our audience is familiar with you. And we were even talking before we started recording about your children's books, and one my wife and I bought that we really loved. God's, very good idea. But for those that may not be as familiar, your background, your family, where you're at, what you're doing, give us kind of an overview of what you're up to.
Yeah. Well, I'll overview of what I'm up to right now. My son just went off to college, so that's
Oh, my word.
big
Where's
deal.
he going? Where's he going?
UT Knoxville. So
Oh, man.
he's a ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's loaded. It could be anything with Texas. Who knows what you're...
Yeah. That's all right.
Are you
But
Texas
y'all are in
A&M?
Nashville.
Are you UT Texas? What is it?
No, don't put any of that on me. I'm an Auburn grad.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. No. No, don't you put that Texas stuff on me. Yeah.
You never know.
Hey,
Okay.
so wait, are you weeping and gnashing of teeth? Was that hard, or how are you feeling?
That is funny. It was not hard. It was hard
Okay.
before it happened. So the whole
Yeah.
year, I cried his whole senior year.
My gosh.
This cried. But then dropping him off, I was like, okay, this is what we're supposed to do. It felt right. It felt like, okay, have fun in college, go to school, go to class,
Yeah.
We've done the best we can. Godspeed. It felt like I'm surprised actually.
Okay.
By
Okay.
how
All right.
it felt okay. I think it's partly also, he's only 3 hours from, we live in Franklin, which is right outside of Nashville, Tennessee.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And that's 3 hours west of where he's going to school. Also, I mean, we're in the technology age where contact isn't hard. And we have a good relationship with our son, which I know is such a gift. So had circumstances been a bit different, where if we were estranged, or if he were going to California where it would be a 4-hour flight, I might feel a little different, but I don't know. So I don't, this is the first, and I don't know what I don't know, but this felt like it was good. My daughter told me this morning, though, she's a sophomore in high school, that she said, you'll probably want to move with me. And I said, probably.
Hey, look, this CPA Lions hat is my Nashville shout out for you today.
CPA,
Yes. My buddy's a football coach over there. So this is as Nashville as I get right now.
That is so great. Yeah, I
the
love
two
CPA.
kids, 2 kids, one just went to college, one's a sophomore, just started her sophomore year.
Yep. So she just started her sophomore year, and it is it's just crazy that I have, and so we'll be empty nesting soon. So we only have the 2, and only is a strong,
I was about to say, it's never only.
Yeah, never only. And they're just lovely and wonderful. And I've been married for 21 years or something like that. And yeah, so that's my life right now. It's big because I do a lot of different things with publishing, but it feels very small, very local right now. And I like it, and it's real sweet.
Are you born and raised in Nashville, or how did y'all end up there?
I am raised in Knoxville, so I'm also a Vol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you're of all. You're an East Tennessee girl.
I am an East Tennessee girl. I was
Okay.
born in North Carolina, Rocky Mount. I'm Tennessee through and through. So my husband's Tennessee through and through as well. He wasn't in, he was Nashville.
Okay.
Anyways, it's but we're Tennesseans. We love the state, love being here.
Mm-hmm.
Middle Tennessee has been wonderful for us in raising our kids, and so yeah.
Well, I was in Memphis for 12 years and loved. I mean, great people, wonderful people. Downline's headquartered in Memphis, but I joke all the time. I feel like when Tennessee got started, they got just west of Nashville and said, "We're good. We're good. Y'all got it from here." And then they just left the rest of us to fend for ourselves.
Okay, I kind of feel the same. I've been to Memphis enough to think, it just doesn't feel like a part of the state. It's so different from the rest of the state.
It is. It is. Okay, you're raising two kids. You just sent off. I do want to circle back on something that you said. One of the things that I wrote down, you're at peace dropping your son off, was the relationship you had with him. And our kids are 11, 9, 7, and 5. So it's weird. I've got one that's closer to college than being born, I guess 2, but still a couple other little ones. But what are the things you can look back with you and your husband along the way that go, I mean, these were some key components in making that statement come true?
Dinners. I mean, it's as simple as we prioritized meals together. We were always together at some point during the day. And often, even when Weston got a car, it was harder because he was just off and gone with his friend, off in activities. But we made sure several times a week, if not every day, we were eating together. It was just a priority. And that allowed for a lot of conversation. So that's probably been the best thing. And my daughter, we're always eating together. We're always talking. It's when we communicate. So that, to me, I can't stress. You're gonna be so busy if your kids do anything.
My word.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you can prioritize a meal or meals or something like that, where you can connect and can talk, that would be great. We weren't the family who tried the devotional thing. I love it if families can do that. It didn't thrive. But we were involved in church.
Yeah.
We're still together. And we didn't, there's lots of things that we tried the movie nights and we have jokes about it. Like it's hilarious. So we've tried all those things, but meals, that's really what just bonded us, and making sure they're intentional. We're talking a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, with that, obviously, it wasn't just sitting down and eating. I mean, did you have a script or the same question you ask every meal? Or, I mean, what got the convo going?
I think, wow, this is so interesting because, one of the things that we really tried to do with our kids was I kind of hate this word, has become so cliche, but real. So we treated them as humans. So we really did want to get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't all rules all the time, like sit and be still. And it's like, How was your day? What have you been thinking? What have you? So no script, but we genuinely want to get to know our kids and love them. Yeah. So I think treating them like humans. And there were times where we would have to repent of something and ask for forgiveness. And so those are the kinds of human, real interest things that we did. Like, what are you thinking about or reading? Or so no script, but just genuine curiosity.
Yeah. I was about to say, it seems like genuine curiosity is the word.
Yeah, like because our kids are made in the image of God, right? So God has created them. They will reflect us in certain ways, but they're created to reflect God.
Mm.
And God has made them with unique personalities and interests and all of these things. Now, we will see reflections of ourselves in our kids. But
Unfortunately.
getting to know their interests, it's amazing. And so I my kids are they're fascinating to me. Just
Mm.
the way that God has created them, their giftings, which are so unique and different, and I don't know. I could go on and on about them specifically, which I won't, but I only can do that because I got to know them. So I think if we can remember that they are human beings created by God with gifts and interests, and we want to get to know them and get to know what they're thinking about and talking about, and then they just begin to open up. So that has what happened. Like I say, my daughter is pretty shy around other people. We sit down and she just won't stop talking, and she sits in my bedroom at night, and if I'm in bed, she plops in, she talks. And I really do believe it's because we have shown a genuine interest, and it's not choreographed or fake, or it's
Yeah,
not
right.
programmed. It's just we want to
Right.
know them. So that would be my advice if I were. There's lots of really cool games and conversation starters that you can use. We've done some of those too, but really it's a genuine. We've done silly things too, like everyone get something that you're reading and read it to each other, or something like,
Oh,
so you can
yeah.
there's fun things you can do.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of that. But genuine interest, genuine love,
Mm.
let love be genuine.
Yeah. Okay. So going off of kids, you're obviously super smart, spoken tons of places. You've taught thousands of adults. How do you go into writing children's books? Or was that always a thing for you and like a first love? Or did it kind of later in life, did you go, I want to capture some of these things and get it in people earlier?
First of all, thank you for that encouragement. um, I have always taught Sunday school. So I've
Okay.
I teach. I haven't been teaching for the last 6 months or so, but I've always taught some kind of Sunday school. And so though my public ministry was to adults, my local ministry it's been adults too. I would teach women's Bible studies, but mostly my Sunday would be with kids.
Yeah.
God's Very Good Idea. It was my first children's book, and it came out out of a Sunday school lesson. So I
Wow.
wrote this Sunday school lesson, and the kids' response to it, I thought, wow, I wonder if this could be a kid's book. I wonder if this is. So I reached out to someone, and it was born. But it was not. It was a very It was an. I wasn't pursuing being a children's book
Right.
author. It
Right.
was hey, I see a need for discipleship. Maybe I did this in my
Mm-hmm.
local church. Maybe it can serve others. That has been my motivation for just about everything I do. It's discipleship.
Yeah.
I have a desire to help teach all that God has commanded. And
Mm.
so no, I would not have said in any way, shape, or form that I would be writing kids' books.
Yes.
But I've always taught kids. So that isn't a huge leap, but it's just been local and it's been sweet. But I saw a need, and evidently the publisher, the Good Book Company, saw that need too, and it was born. So I'm really grateful for that. But now, technically, how I switch children's, I think everyone should try. Everyone should try to write theology for kids,
Okay.
because you really grow in your understanding
Mm.
about because you have to take a big concept like the Imago Dei, the image
Mm.
of God, and find one word for it and find imagery that can help.
Yeah.
So taking these big theological concepts or doctrines or ideas and writing them for kids only helps you understand God's word better. And that's the same thing with teaching Sunday school. The kids will ask questions. Again, I haven't taught in 6 months, but the kids would ask questions and I would be like, wait a minute.
I know. Isn't that fun? Yeah.
It that way. And
Uh-huh.
they're just, it's delightful. So I
Well,
highly recommend it.
your spiritual maturity shines through because my wife and I, we don't do it now with church planting, but in our church in Memphis, we did first grade, and I didn't leave there desiring to do anything for children. We had like 40 first graders in one classroom, and I left there going, I feel judgmental about everyone's parenting, and all of these kids are pagans. That was my takeaway when I walked out of there.
Did you need more volunteers? It sounds
Yeah,
like,
well, you know,
were you a
I
little
think we needed,
overwhelmed?
I think we needed volunteers and a heart change. I made the boys in class. I did 15 minutes of physical exercise, push-ups and jumping jacks before we ever even got started.
Now, of course, there are those the rowdy little silly kids or the kids that you have to separate.
Yeah, that was my Imago day. I said, you have a body,
you have a body,
and God gave that to you, and we're going to use that right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, but from there, I know you did 52 weeks in the Word, so great devotional study. That's for adults. But then you come out with a student guide. Is this something? So as Weston gets older, he goes off to college, or your daughter's getting older, are you kind of going, you know what? In my life experience with them and their peers, this would be really helpful? Or are you kind of responding to a need, like you said, with the children's book? Or has this kind of always been the plan to kind of scope and scale to different audiences?
Yeah, it wasn't always the plan. What I realized from feedback in 52 weeks in the Word for the adult quote unquote version, which a lot of teens used also.
Sure.
It takes you through the entire Bible. It's canonical, so it takes you from Genesis to Revelation straight through. That is hard for most kids to read in a year or even 2 years. But the New Testament can be done just reading one chapter a week. And so what I wanted to do is to help, because so many kids were looking for resources, and a lot of parents do look for resources from me. And I thought, well, I want to get kids in the Word. What better way than to help them read through the scripture and start in the New Testament? And so it really was as simple and maybe even a little pragmatic as that. It wasn't this master plan, or 52 weeks in the Word did really well. And I thought, well, if people want to dive into the New Testament, and I say people because yes, the text is written for students, but anyone can grab this and read through the New Testament.
Yeah. What's the most fun thing? What's the most fun you've ever had writing a book?
The most fun, like during the writing process?
Yeah, or like you just got more and more excited as you saw the project coming together.
Okay. I don't know if you've heard that's the saying. And I'm not going to get it right. It's something like, I don't love to write, I love to have written.
Yeah, it's the same with preaching a lot of times for me.
Yeah. And now, writing is painful and it's a lot of work. I do get excited when I learn a new concept and I know that someone is going to benefit from something. That's exciting. But writing itself is just hard. Now, when I get excited is when I see it come together. So you've written all these words, and then you hand it in and they typeset it, and then they put their fancy things on it. I'm not creative in that way. Or like in a children's book, you write the words, but then the illustrator brings it to
Right.
life. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. So
Yeah.
those are the kinds of things that make me I get really excited about. I think, wow, even we were talking about the student edition. I don't know. I mean, 52 Weeks in the Word is gorgeous. It's beautiful.
No, it
And
looks great.
but I only wrote the words. I cannot make these projects look like beauty and this I just can't, because that's where my gifting goes to die. I am a writer. I can write, but that's about it. So that to me, I think, is just one of the things that it just, I know, oh, someone's going to get to hold this and experience it in a way that will draw them in further, and by the grace of God, help them connect even greater to
For
the
sure.
Bible or to the Lord himself. So that
Yeah.
to me is,
No, that's great.
it's delightful. Yeah.
Okay, you're talking to a fellow parent. My kids are all a little younger. I'm circling back to something you said, which my heart kind of sank. I was hoping that your key was like the Westminster Catechism, but you went dinners, which is great. And I'm sitting here going, as of right now, I've got one night during the week, one school night, which is Friday night, where we're actually all home. Because with 4 kids and activities and everything. And so now, obviously, all my parenting shame is kicking in. And
No.
but in a serious question, I think we got a lot of people listening that are going, how do I do it? Right? Like, even if you
Yeah.
have multiple kids only doing one thing, you're still scattered and you're spread out. And so is it the act of the dinner, which I think is super important? Is there a way to do the intentionality and curiosity in other environments, or is it,
Yes.
or like, just help me both personally, but also with a lot of our people listening, of going, the core of that seemed to be really curious, let them know that you love them as people and you want to get to know them. But I also think there's something really special. Look, Jesus ate a lot of meals with people.
Yeah, he did.
And there's something to, even theologically, to food and meals. And I don't want to downplay that at all.
Yeah.
But help me kind of bring maybe some of those things together.
Well, first of all, there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. So you receive Romans 8 and the grace of God. So if there is a parent who's listening, the goal is to be more like Jesus and not more necessarily like your neighbor. I think there is a place for that. Like Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ. And so we want to obviously grow and learn from other people, but our goal is to be transformed into the image of Jesus. So be encouraged. Don't feel guilty. I gave my kids cell phones too early. I could be guilty about that. Yeah, I could feel bad about that. So there you go. But what I would encourage, there's a few things I think if there's zero days, I'm not saying it's Sunday, if like there's 0 days where you can be together as a family, I would evaluate your schedule. I do think that that's something worth
100%.
evaluating. Yeah. Yes. I think that's worth evaluating, because you might be pulled too thin and so evaluate, see, okay, where is there a place where, but then I think maybe for pastors, I know Sundays are difficult, but maybe it's Sunday night. Maybe we have these things called snack dinners. So we don't, literally, they're like snacks on Sunday nights because I don't want to do anything. So it's either
That's right.
leftovers or crackers or salami, cheese, and we're just grazing like animals or something. We're just eating whatever. And so maybe it's something like it's laid back and it doesn't have to feel formal. So I do want to stress that it doesn't have to be formal. Now, you asked a really important question. All of our time together has not just been spent at dinners. I just didn't want to load in. We have been very intentional in other ways. So, for example, I work at home, but I've also, before I worked at home, I stayed at home. So picking up my daughter, they're in public school, so not homeschooled. So picking up my daughter at school has always been, or my son went before he was driving, always been essential time for conversation. Or anytime we're in the car, they're trapped. Talk to them.
That's right.
They're not getting out. That's an essential time for conversation. Now, we do need to understand they're also human, so they could be tired, hungry, irritable. I think that an irritable isn't it's sin, but those are, we want to have grace for those moments. But most of the time, you could find out about their day or find out about their sport. What happened? What did you experience? Because we're not with them 24 hours a day, typically. So in car time was also very intentional time. But I also did things like, I took my daughter in particular, we had mommy-daughter trips. So we went away together. From the talk to everything else was away. Anytime I can get that time, I would have coffee dates, quote unquote, with my son. We would go. He was a real reader and into philosophy. So he wanted to talk all the time about deep things. And so we would go to coffee shops because he loved it. So we would go, and
that's cool.
So find out what they love, do it. So I think the problem with most of us is that we're lazy, we're preoccupied with ourselves, and it's really hard to be intentional. So as a parent, dying to self, you're just, it's hard. You're tired. You don't want to. But I think if you start, that's, I think, one of the hurdles that we have to jump over for our own humanness, is that we want time to ourselves. We want to rest. But it's such a cliche, but it's so true. I don't know if there's anything that's gone faster than these years with these kids. I'm shocked. Everyone told me when they were younger, it's flies
I know.
by. But it really does. So what I would say is, anytime you can, be intentional. Use the time that you have. Think out of the box. Spend the, time with them that you can. And I think you won't regret it. That doesn't mean that they will love Jesus.
No, there is no formula for that.
There's no formula for that.
No.
But it does. I do think that I can speak into their lives more because we have a real relationship.
Well, thanks for sharing all that and being honest with us. Look, I think rightfully so, probably convicting. It is for me, but also encouraging. But I will say this. I mess a lot of things up as a dad, tons of things. I do think I crushed time in the truck, because my 5-year-old and I, we can dominate Chris Stapleton White Horse.
There you go.
To a degree that I'm not even sure he can. But that's one of the things that I do, like road trips and stuff. We sing a lot as a family, which may sound silly, but
no, it's awesome.
I wonder if I think if you feel comfortable enough to sing, even though you're really bad at it, there's something to that, in all seriousness.
No, I think it's delighting in each other, enjoying one another, enjoying, you're making memories. It's a tradition. There's so many things about that are so sweet. And you mentioned something that we also are just been really intentional to take vacations together. Something else that my husband and I, now a lot of people will disagree with this, and that's okay.
All right. I'm here for this.
My husband and I also made a conscious decision not to go away without our kids. Now, I know because for this season, because we knew it was short, and we currently have so much time together by ourselves, even though we still have a kid in the house, because she has activities. We date all the time. We're always dating because we're just together all the time by ourselves. but we made a decision. We took a 10-year trip to Quebec, which was so fun. But we came back and we thought, we want our kids to experience these things with us. And we don't have that much time. I think that's been a big theme in our lives is we don't have that much time. And so that has made being together also easier because we take vacations together and we're together quite a bit.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Yeah. Well, you're so sweet. Look, I told you 30 minutes. I've kept you 1 minute over, but this was a ton of fun for me. I don't want to cut you off just yet because I'd love for people to know where they can find you, your resources. I think your stuff is fantastic, especially for those of us who still have kids in the house and we're wanting to be intentional with them. So give us a little bit of an overview of where they can find you and where they can find your resources.
Yeah, it's easy. If you can spell my name, you can find me. So I'm at trillianewbell.com. And that's where you can find me on social, everywhere, Trillia Newbell. So that's it.
And I'm going to add, you didn't ask for any of this, but the kids' books are fantastic. I joked with you before we came on the air. I mean, we lived in Memphis. We got the Dolly Parton books in the mail.
Yeah.
Which, thank you, Dolly. Those were fun. Yours have a lot more meaning to them. So I'm going to put those on a little bit of a higher rank. But hey, thanks again. Thanks for serving us in the past at the conferences and for jumping on today.
Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for listening to this episode of the Downline podcast. Please subscribe and go down and rate us and give us 5 stars. Help us get this content out to as many people as possible as we hope to continue to equip men and women to join the Great Commission as we make disciples for a lifestyle as a lifetime.